Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. It's time for some football. Across the world, media briefings for major sporting competitions are par for the course, but it isn't always the case in the region. That's the main part of the reason Harbourview's head coach Ludlow Bernard expressed so much appreciation on Wednesday at a press conference to launch match week 15 of the Jamaica Premier League. Bernard believes more media coverage is important for further exposure of JPL coaches, players and the league on a whole.
Appreciate this kind of initiative. This is something that I always advocate for. Provide some more exposure for us as coaches and players. And I'm looking forward to something like this occurring from week to week.
League leaders Mount Pleasant will host defending champions Harbourview FC on Sunday, February 19 at the Draxall Sports Complex at 3:15 p.m. local time, 4:15 Eastern Caribbean time. The previous encounter ended in a 1-1 draw earlier this season, and Coach Bernard hopes his Harbourview side will grab the 3 points despite recent struggles.
Pertaining to changes, some of it is tactical, some of it is personalities. Whenever you're experiencing a down period, you clearly have to make adjustments. We are probably suffering in the goal scoring department. That aspect of it, very, very unusual for us, because at the beginning we were flying. But these are the periods that we go through in our season, and it's for us as coaches to try and sort it out.
Meanwhile, head coach of league leaders Mount Pleasant, Theodore Tapper Whitmore, says his team will not be complacent in the second round of the season.
Well, again, we have to put the first round behind us. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. So you can be leading now, and by the end of this round, you don't know where. As Coach Bernard said, for any team, consistency is going to be the key, and that is what we are shooting for again. Just a little on the statement that Coach Bernard made. We play Falkland, and it was a ding-dong battle. So with the relegation and everything, every team playing for 3 points now, because no team want to drop out the league. So this run going to be critical, and it's how well you handle the games going forward.
Joining us now to preview the Mount Pleasant Harbourview clash is football analyst Leger Williams. Good afternoon, Leger. Happy to have you on the SportsMax Zone.
Hi.
All right, so Mount Pleasant, Harbourview, you're close to the action. What do we expect?
I'm expecting a good game. I'm expecting Harbourview to try and get back to the fore. They've been struggling a lot lately, especially over the last 9 games or so. Only 2 wins in those last 9 games. Only 4 goals in those last 9 games. They've been really struggling in front of goal. I think, contrary to them struggling in front of goal, they've been creating a lot of chances, but they just haven't been taking them. I think their striking options really needs to be rotated. So it'll be interesting against this Mount Pleasant team, who are such a good team in the league so far this season. Only 1 loss. They have the most goals scored in the league, the least goals conceded. So they're a really balanced team, and they'll really be pushing on for the title this year.
Yeah, and Tapper, of course, not losing sight of, the goal. You listen to him, he said it's not about how you start, how you finish. So, this Mount Pleasant team, they're not losing focus, despite having a good run this season. They're, going to get a win again.
Yeah, man, it's very important. Tapper is an experienced coach. He knows what it takes to win important things as a player. So he'll try and transmit that to the players. They have a very good coaching staff as well. And the team is extremely talented. They've invested significant amounts in the team as well. So they'll be looking to just continuously improve, because even on a week-by-week basis, they change around the team a lot. They change around systems a lot in order to get advantages over their opponents. So they're still looking to get the best formula to win, and they'll be pushing on to win the title, their first title. I'm sure they'll be right there towards the end in the playoffs.
Literally, expand on the point you just made about rotating their offensive thrust, Harbourview, because I remember in a post-match interview, Ludlow Bernard sounded almost threatening to his frontmen that he has to do something about their failure, because at that point they had just lost a match to Arnett Gardens and had scored just 1 goal in 5 matches, which, as he just mentioned, is unlike Harbourview. And he did suggest in that interview that he would take some draconian measures to fix these scoring problems. Lo and behold, the very next match they lost 1-0 to Veer, which would have been a shocker for him. What are the troubles specifically Bernard is facing at Harbourview with getting goals?
It's odd. I'm not going to lie. It's been odd. They're just not scoring. They have the players that are used to scoring in this league. I'm sure you know Colorado Murray has been scoring for years. Nicholas Hamilton was in a rich vein of form at the end of last season, the start of this season. He all of a sudden can't score. But I think very importantly, the last Reed, who was such an integral player to what they wanted to do, both in a creative and a goal-scoring sense. So I think they've been struggling to replace him in the lineup. Timar Lewis was stepping up towards the start of the season, but he hasn't scored in quite some time, since game week 5, I believe, against Falkland. So they're just looking for goals from anywhere, maybe from midfield. They won their last game. Trey Bennett scored in their last game 1-0 from midfield. So maybe that's a solution, but I just think the strikers need to start scoring goals. And I think, as Lola Bernard said at the start of the season, winning breeds winning. I think once they start scoring, that will just breed more scoring and they'll gain confidence.
Yeah, well, we're staying with the JPL, and Mount Pleasant forward Trivante Stewart leads the goal-scoring chart with 13 goals. He reckons he is in line for a national call-up. Hard work really makes a game look easy. Holgrimson, and then he says, I know he's there. Most time he will come up there and watch even training. So Leger, does Trivante Stewart deserve a national call-up?
Absolutely. I think even if you look at what they did last year, being the JFF, they called up Bygrave, rewarding him for his form at the end of the last season. I think they need to do the same with Trivante Stewart, not only because he's scoring goals, but the rate at which he's scoring goals, the type of goals he's scoring. He's scoring penalties, he's scoring headers, he's scoring tap-ins, he's creating chances for himself. So he's just been fantastic for the whole season, really. And earlier this season, a lot of the analysts and commentators were mentioning that we haven't seen anyone really score a lot of goals in the Jamaica Premier League in quite some time. As a matter of fact, no player has scored 20 goals in the league since 14-15. So that's since that's Craig Foster, I believe. So that's been such a long time, and Trivante Stewart is more than on pace to get in 20 league goals. He has 13 already in only 14 game weeks. So he definitely, I think, deserves, and more so just to show the national players that are playing out here in the Jamaica Premier League that there is something for them to accomplish if they show outstanding form. It's not only the international players that can get into the national setup.
Yeah, and he's big and strong. He's over 6 feet, he's muscular, and he's physically imposing. And among the 13 goals, Lige would have been a hat-trick against Dunbeholden. He had a brace against Arnett Gardens, which tells you that he's scoring not only good goals, but he's scoring against good teams.
Yeah, he does. He doesn't shy away from any opposition, really. As you said, he's imposing. He imposes himself against any opposition. He really gives every centre-back a really hard time. He scores all types of goals, as I said, and he has a very good touch on him, despite being a big guy. So he has the opportunity to have good link-up play. Since Bygrave has gone to Mount Pleasant, we've seen him now pop up more in the wing areas, the half-space areas, to create overloads in that way and score from those areas. So he's a very versatile player, so I think he can add a lot to the national setup.
All right, well, we'll look forward to seeing what happens with him, and of course, if he does indeed get that national call-up. Well, that's all the time we have. We'll go take a quick break, and when we come back, we have so much more to talk to you about. Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news, and entertainment.